Okay, so I've been here for a week now, and I have kind of a routine going where I work out a little bit in the morning, and then I have breakfast, and then I go for a walk, and I walk with my feet in the sand, in the water, and just try to be. Sometimes I'll listen to music, but generally I want to just think. And usually on that walk is where I come up with what I want to talk about for the day, what my journal entry will be. And then I try to sit on the beach and stuff, and I get restless, so that's why I'm here. Because I didn't come here to just sit around, I came here to access something. And I really wish, like I was thinking on my way back up here, like I could take a year off and just travel the world and just do this in a different place and just see what I come up with. Perhaps when I'm retired, I have time to think, but I'm actually trying to automate my business so I could just be free. Now, what I wanted to talk about is another spiritual law. Thoughts. Now listen to this. This is my little composition book. There's the random thoughts that I have. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and write things down. I suggest you do the same. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. The great Lao Tzu said that of Taoism. I talk about Wu Wei a lot. And Wu Wei means do nothing, but it technically means follow the path of least resistance. If you imagine your life is a trip down the river, imagine you're floating down this river. And of course there's obstacles, there's, waterfalls, there's stuff you can't predict. And every now and then you'll think something's right for you. You'll think either a person or a place or a job or something is right for you. And you grab onto an embankment on this river. And you hold on for dear life, right? And you're like, no, I am sure this is my person. And then what happens is, water carved the Grand Canyon as far as we know, right? Eventually that will erode you down to the bone if you hang on. Or something will come along this river and dislodge you, which is going to hurt, and it's going to be scary because you think there must be waterfalls, there must be raging rapids, the road ahead looks treacherous. Ships are safest in the harbor, but that's not what they were built for. So you kind of have to trust this path. So like in Taoism, it wasn't like it was the Tao, it wasn't God. So it's another way for you to find the same thing, enlightenment, and find like how the universe works in a way that's digestible for people. Some people have like a grudge against the concept of God, like someone's judging them or someone's punishing them. It's like, how dare you? If you consider it like a neutral force, there's no one to get mad at. So maybe look into Taoism. Now let's talk about thoughts more. You are today where your thoughts have brought you. You will be tomorrow where your thoughts take you. Mr. James Allen. This is an important one for me. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. Aristotle said that. And I'm not sure who said this. What you are is what you've been able to let go of. You can tell why I wrote that down. But like too many people, I think, you're just the sum of your parts. You are what your parents and your school made you. You don't do any independent thought or work or whatever. And especially, people harness their pain forever. I know someone who's been calling their brother a serial killer for 20 years because they euthanized her sick, dying cat. Um, tell strangers and people that love the guy. That's you know. And the same person told me, I imagine my childhood trauma. It's like, you don't think you're traumatized? You're the most traumatized person I've ever met, I've ever heard of. Holds everything. You've every slight against this person. Has a list that she refers back to, and then just like attacks unprovoked all the time. That's what trauma does. Um, so you are what you are is what you've been able to let go of. Now this is another one. Doesn't really relate too much, but I like it. It was written in the same thing. Life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Vivian Green said that. I wonder if she's single. She's probably dead. I don't know who it is. Okay, so thoughts. Nikola Tesla said this is one of the keys of the universe. Think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. He literally tells you it's code. He said think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. Now, if you take that backwards, your thoughts create a frequency which creates a vibration which creates energy. Or vibration, whatever. I should start over because I fucked that up. I don't care. I'm looking at people living. I should be paying attention. Sorry. Hello. Energy, frequency, vibration. Vibration, frequency, energy. Damn. So, I obviously when I think about it, when I was into conspiracies, that's all I thought about. And you can argue that I created it in my life. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole now, but another thing is, in this esoteric philosophy, they say you are not the words in your head, you are the observer of the words. So you're not even sure if the thoughts in your head are yours. And when I first came out here, so dramatic that I couldn't do this at home, and I have to be naked in front of the sun. Not actually naked, don't be weird, but I had to get high to talk to myself because I thought it was weird. Although all day, every day since I can remember, I've been talking to myself in my head. Just all of a sudden when you say it out loud, it feels crazy. So I had to get used to it. And I also I definitely getting high is breaking spiritual law, don't do it. And I recorded my thoughts while I was high, but I don't imagine I can use any of that footage because it's random nonsense. At any rate, on this subject of thoughts, when you go to a self-help seminar, really what you go away with is a new way to think. Whether that is to be successful, to be healthy, to be happy, to be forgiving, whatever it is, really what you're looking for is a new way to think. Because the way you've been doing it hasn't been working and you need help. That's why there is a Tony Robbins. Now, thoughts. There's live music downstairs, and maybe another time I'll sit and enjoy something like that, but not right now. Thoughts. The Buddhists and the Zoroastrians would say, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. And when I'm walking, when I have my walks, sometimes just people acknowledge each other, right? I don't usually. And usually when I make eye contact, it's on accident. And because I'm thinking I'm not present enough to be like, hello, how are you? I'm like, oh, that was an accident. Please forgive me. But I noticed I had a friend who, when she got a little chunky, she started noticing fat people more. And she started really aggressively talking shit on every fat person. Like, ew, that's fucking disgusting. Who would, if I ever get fat, you should tell me, and blah, blah, blah. Same person, if you called her fat, she would kill you. That's obviously projection, but it's interesting because it was in here. All she could think about, and then she kind of, it's like that, the heart under the floorboards. Nevermore. I notice people tell on themselves a lot what they're thinking. We are strange creatures. So I've been trying to harness and control my thoughts in order to control my destiny, in order to control my, my character, my habits, all of it. Lao Tzu summed it up perfectly. Now, it's obviously easier said than done. But I notice when I separate myself from people, I get to this place, this Zen. And then when I try to re-enter society, like, I had a friend at the gym, and he was going through a hard time. And I tried to share things that I've learned to help him and encourage him and whatever. And as he started progressing along his path, I obviously was like happy for him. But what I noticed is I would lose my path. In order to turn around and bring someone up, like he'd come up a little bit, but I would come down, definitely, because he's the type of person, now, I'm not judging, I'm just saying, and a lot of men are like this, so, like, don't shoot the messenger. But if I'd be talking to him, like having a serious conversation, he'd see a hot girl and he'd just get lost, and then it doesn't matter what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, so anyways, that's how my whole family died. And then he'd be like, did you see her ass? I would do this and do that. And I was like, hey, what's wrong with you? Every time he said it, I was so like, and he'd tell me to look and I wouldn't look. And then eventually, not only did I start doing it myself, I started doing it without him. I would hear his voice in my head. Like, look at her, blah, blah, blah. I would do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? And then I would take a break from the gym. Everything would be fine. And then weirdly, it would return when I came back to the gym. I was like, oh, bro, it's you. And it's not, something I pointed out to him is not something he wants to fix. So, okay, we're not the same vibration. We can be friendly, but I think our time to be close is gone. Best of luck, my friend. And that's how, unfortunately, I feel about most of my friendships. It's like when I tried to fit in, my life went to shit. When I was more social and more socially accepted and I was MVP of a party or something, not only did I put my life in danger, but slowly lost myself. And it felt like, genuinely, like when I was going through my dark night of the soul, it genuinely felt like I was in hell, and it genuinely felt like I was surrounded by actual living demons. And it felt like they could smell my fear. It was like, oh, all of a sudden everything's different. Well, all of a sudden I was doing everything different. So thoughts, and very important, because they create your reality. Whether you think it's Jesus or Muhammad or the Tao, whatever you believe is the only truth, because you believe it. That's what you're creating. So everything that you see out here is going to just verify, yes, it is Jesus. It is Christ. I would have spiritual conversations with like a trainer at my gym. And he's someone who did like acid like every day for 2 months. And you can see it in his eyes, you know? And he said he watched people like with his two eyes. He said he went through like Skid Row in LA. And like the movie Ghost where the shadows come and like take you down to hell. He said he saw someone dying and he saw that happening. He said he saw like demons controlling people's thoughts and like telling them to look or say something. Now I happen to believe that might be true. Like that might be it. Maybe we just don't see it. It would explain a lot. But he's so sure it's Christ and this and that, right? And sometimes he would go party for a weekend and do drugs, do cocaine and stuff, and then be like, pray for me. What the fuck do you mean pray for you? You're in charge of that. What do you mean? And also, like, you're so sure there's a God and you're so sure he's watching you, but why? How do you justify what you're doing? Granted, we all stray and we all have our... I mean, I had to learn too. But it was just interesting. And he got a tattoo on his neck. And he wears a ring with his favorite verse. And I just wonder, it's like, okay, well, maybe, what if there's a demon convincing him it's Christ, you know? And keeping him from God. Everything he sees confirms it's Christ, but like, I think I said this before, but like, if you draw a symbol on your body in blood, are you sure you're doing that for God? Which God? Lowercase g God. Just remember the words, bro. You don't have to paint it on your body. It's a very strange thing to be doing for God. And then I showed him the book that I was reading, Theosophy. He said, oh, I read that. It's bullshit because it makes me think there's no Christ and blah, blah, blah. Everything has to be Christ. I noticed when people are born, his dad's a pastor, surprise. People are born into a religion, like depending on geographic location, depending on what their parents believe. You're born into it and you never question it. Like everything that I've learned about Christianity, like the source of it, like I believe the source of it was real and genuine and true. I believe what is being practiced is far, far, far away from it. And if you try to explain that to someone caught up into the culture of Christianity, where not only is it idol worship, like Santa Claus, and then now there's Elf on the Shelf, this magic elf is watching, and then the entire month you're worshiping an idol, having your kids do it, and then eventually you laugh at your kids, or they get laughed at in school for believing such a stupid lie, and then they realize the entire world has been lying to them. Their parents have been lying to them for the magic, plus the symbolism of this fat cunt wearing like a red robe that usually is a symbol of blood, FYI, and it's used in cults. So maybe second guess the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and blah blah blah. And obviously the Easter Bunny. Oh yeah, I like when I had social media and I saw all the people saying he is risen. Show me, where is he then? Fucking retards. Show me, where is he? Let's talk to him. Can he clear some stuff up in the Middle East? We need some help. He is risen. He is God and the Son, and he killed himself to teach himself a lesson for you. And now you owe us money. Like, none of this shit makes sense. Shut the fuck up and think for a second. I believe Yeshua was an ascended master. I believe that there was a movement created and it was working, and then obviously it was hijacked. And I think what that man was teaching, you ever notice Christianity doesn't talk about where he was between 12 and 30. He just magically appeared. He was born as God's son, divine. We didn't hear shit about what he was doing up till then, who raised him and who was teaching him stuff. In Tibet, they have ancient scrolls that documented, they call them Issa, Yeshua's name, Jesus, was Issa in Arabic. And they documented his travels from Palestine through Iran, Afghanistan, India, and into Tibet. And how interesting that they were teaching essentially what he was teaching. At that time, those Eastern mystery schools, like the Eastern mystery schools, or the mystery schools in Egypt as well, they were teaching this. And then he tried to bring this to Palestine. And of course he had to be the Son of God, because what man has ever lived a day without sinning? It's impossible. You could never be like Jesus, they say. They say profoundly. What if it was just a matter of one person has to do it? One person just has to like actually have pure thoughts, just come from a place of love, and then magic powers. We may never know. Well, I'll try, you know? Maybe that's why like people find enlightenment after they're alone in a cave for a month. You ever notice that? Muhammad came back from a cave, Moses came back from the mountain. There's always like everyone just like, hey, I figured it out. You guys are the problem. Now listen to me. I wonder what it takes to save this generation. How do you convince people to change their thoughts? Now here's an interesting thing. I believe the powers that be, whatever they are, knows the laws of the universe and knows that thoughts create reality. And that's why they push this victim mentality. No matter what it is, gender ideology, BLM, whatever, obviously, like, who have they actually helped? When you are convinced you are a victim, like when they talk about reparations and stuff, when you are convinced like, what if Africans were already here in the Americas and all the stories of slave ships and stuff was made up? Because obviously, like during Jim Crow and stuff, we have videos of blah blah blah, but before that, imagine all history is made up. If it was, you'd have no idea, right? You don't have the ships, you don't have like the logs, you don't have the whatever, just hypothetically. And then you convince the people, like, what if the people that built the pyramids were black Africans? And what if they had the knowledge and whatever, and then somehow the power is usurped, and now they are convinced, like, these are magical people that were capable of amazing things. Like Michael Jordan dunking from the free throw line. It's not, like, no matter how much I think, I can't accomplish that, you know? Like, is that not magic? So what if, just a matter of convincing you that you are a victim, now you're enslaved in here? And that, I think, is the goal of pushing this ideology, because the people like pushing the legislation for reparations don't want to give people money. The people pushing medication during COVID, they didn't want universal health care. You know, the same government telling me like, hey, you have to do this for the greater good is not interested if I'm dying on the street, or if I'm homeless, or if, yeah, you know, I lose my business, blah, blah, blah. They're very concerned with controlling my thoughts, though. So, you know, I watched a documentary. Not a documentary. I heard this guy that used to walk with Martin Luther King. He's still alive, and he's still like he's trying to galvanize black people. And he was talking about how during Jim Crow, black people were thriving. He said the black neighborhoods that he grew up in, they had black-only businesses. They had families that were together. They were all dressed well. I don't know if you've seen pictures, but everybody was dressed well. Of course, people were racist and treated them bad, and they had different bathrooms and different drinking fountains, blah, 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 but they had their own economies. Now, who's running the businesses in black neighborhoods? You have 7-Elevens, you have, like, you know, you have other ethnicities, I suppose. But where are the black families together? Where are the black businesses together? And it's interesting that you can be convinced someone has your back while they're twisting the knife in your back, which is what, not to get political, but every movement, like MLK, Sam Cooke, Jesus, every movement gets hijacked and then turned. And who has BLM's helped, I wonder? When you are divided into groups, you're stuck in a lower vibration. You're stuck in your lower chakras because you think the other groups are out to get you. I mean, that's why the elite live in ivory towers, right? Very hard to get to the same neighborhood that Oprah lives in. The world my parents grew up in, when they came to America, you didn't need a key to your house. You could leave it unlocked. Everybody's car was unlocked. Now in San Francisco, you have to leave your windows down and everything open and a sign that says we don't have anything. Or someone will come and steal your shit. Is that a sign that we've gone in the right direction? The world has gotten worse and worse. And do you know what we have more of than ever is propaganda. We have more ways to absorb reasons to be afraid of each other, reasons to hate each other, reasons to think one person has more than the other. I got into a fight once. I don't know if I said this before. It's very rare that I let loose and have fun because the weight of the world is on my shoulders. So one time, we had a guys' night out in San Diego, and I had a friend who had a bachelorette party concurrently, so we just joined forces, right? And it was on my credit card. And at some point, I get the right amount of drunk, and I'm just smiling, and I'm just happy to be around my friends, and I'm happy to be out. And I take my shirt off, and women are cheering. Technically, I paid them to, but nonetheless, there's 3 guys standing right outside my table, unbeknownst to me, thinking that I'm living the life that they should have. It's one specific guy, and he convinced his friends to go along with it, but the girl asked me to go to the dance floor. And this is how you know that I was drunk, is I agreed. So as I'm going, I hear the guy tell his friends, come on, let's go. Follows me to the dance floor, and then starts bumping into me on purpose. And I knew all of this was happening. Even in a drunk state, I'm somehow aware of my surroundings. And I just ignored it because I knew what he was trying to do. He was trying to ruin my day. And then when I wasn't taking the bait, the 4th or 5th time he bumped into me, he jumped into me, pushed me actually. Pushed me, which I wouldn't have cared, but it knocked my friend over. And it spilled my full drink that I just made. So without thinking, and this is how the devil gets you, you just react, right? Then I started doing the devil's work for him. So I didn't think, I was assaulted. I picked her up, I turned around, I pushed this guy into his friends, and I broke my glass on his face. And then I realized it's me against 3 guys. And I don't know how to fight. So I'm okay, let's do it. We're here. And then bouncers come by, everybody scatters, and then all the good times everybody was having at my table, now everybody's scared. What will I do? What's gonna happen? Whatever. And then my friends, thinking that they're saving me or doing something good, say, "Let's go." Like, you're out of control. Let's go. Not that "Are you okay?" or anything. And then obviously, these three guys get what they want. One, they fucked my night up, and two, now they were gonna follow us outside. What the fuck was that? So the entire time trying to goat me into a fight, like all the way to the parking lot, like in this, like go in the elevator. It's like a Family Guy thing with that chicken. And then just wait till this guy's just talking and talking and talking. And what I noticed is they were like, "You think you have money? You think you're rich?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" No. And I realized, like, this guy's not controlling his thoughts, obviously. And I wish that I was sober of mind so I could somehow talk to the guy and help him. Like, that was the beginning of my alchemy journey, where it's like, the guy was trying aggressively to fight me. And I would have fought him. Like, I don't care. My friend said don't, and they kept telling me to shut up, so I was like, okay. At a certain point, it's like an hour, I'm like, "Can we just fight? Like, I want to go home and sleep." "Matt, shut up." Said, "All right. Okay." But yeah, like, I was upset that night because like I didn't do anything wrong the whole night. Somehow trouble still found me. It's obviously a sign that I shouldn't be drinking. Shocking. Gave the devil an opportunity. And then, yeah, I wasn't mad at the guy at all. I was like, I get it. He thinks I'm like the type of person that I even hate. He saw me enjoying my life and he thought I stole it from him. See a butterfly? So I wish that I was sober of mind, so I would have invited him to the table. I would have offered him a drink. I would have asked him what he does for a living. I would have talked to him about how I got to where I am and how to help him. Maybe give him a job. It's interesting. There's a lesson in everything that happens. It's just whether you find it. And it doesn't have to be some big ordeal. It doesn't have to be some traumatic event. Like seeing the butterfly, there's always something to learn, something to see. This is the last day I'm alone here. I have a friend coming, and he's got 4 kids, so he doesn't have a lot of free time. And he just so happened to be going on vacation a week after me and staying at the hotel next door. So I take that as a sign. And because I've separated myself so much, and I seek out alone time. I'm trying to figure things out. I'm trying to change my frequency, my vibration, my energy. And I still have to be part of this world. Like his kids should know their uncle. I'll tell you a funny story. I don't think he'll like this, but I think it's funny. He invited me over for Christmas. And he has 2 twin boys that are brand new, so they're not making memories, and then 2 girls. And the younger girl is totally feral. She reminds me of him when he was little. Totally out of control, just looking for attention probably. And I bought the girls like toy. I don't know what girls like. I'm so far away from having an idea. So I went and bought them stuff, and they looked at it, and they just kept playing video games. I was like, okay, here's the receipt. Go get them whatever they want. And then the little girl sits next to me, And she's just like getting closer to my face like this. And I was like, what are you doing? And then she spit in my face. And it's honestly the funniest thing that has ever happened. It's my favorite kid of all time. Like, how do you think of that? I always threaten her when I see her and she's acting up. I say, I'll put you in the toilet upside down. And then she kind of behaves after. But it's so fun and so funny. So, I'll spend time with my friend and his family. I'll eventually join the real world again. All the while trying to control my thoughts. So interestingly, like at certain points in my life, I don't know, like I got rid of baggage or something. And I stumbled into like a flow state that I was unfamiliar with. And it was interesting how many, like let's say the devil knows and tries to infiltrate. And because I didn't think there's a devil, I just gave like, oh, this next thing must be the right thing. I must be ready for something. When in reality, it's a test to see if you're still stupid. And because I didn't, I stumbled upon this like, I was glowing for a little bit. It's like everyone was smiling at me. Like I'd walk around and like, people would be like, hey, like no homo, you look good. It's like probably a little bit of homo, but thank you. And I didn't know how I got there. So I was able to lose it. And I'm trying to work on the things, I guess, that allowed me to lose it, where I'm just unflappable. I should be by now. Like I'm too smart to be taking so many steps back, so like alcohol is out forever. I don't need to get high ever. I don't need these things, And I need to journal. I think at the time is when my friend Amber lived with me. So I was essentially journaling to her. I was just getting my thoughts out to her. And she's like the only person I actually tried. Like she became my emergency contact. Because although we're not like in any way a romantic match, she's a similar vibration in the sense that she has a good heart. I don't question it at all. I don't question her motives. And that, I don't know why that's so rare. I don't question her morals. Like, granted, I'm a little extreme. She's not where I am, but I know how she thinks. Maybe there isn't a lot of thought, or maybe that's why it's good. Sorry, Amber. She has brain damage. But yeah, like, why is that so rare? While I was in that like flow state, I was still surrounded by my old friends. People that didn't earn their place in my life to begin with, but I held on to. And I cleaned house. Like when I deleted my social media, I changed my number, I moved. I was like, whoever needs to get in contact with me will. And then some people sought out contacting me in order to keep me down, I think. To pretend we're friends, to pretend they have my back, so that they still get my energy, I'm too smart for that. This girl sent me a Venmo request for a penny and said, call me. And this is the girl who said, why don't we just hook up until you find your wife? So if you want me to give you my energy. And then what do I tell my wife? It's like, okay, this is the friend I used to hook up with. She's coming with us to our honeymoon. I was telling a friend about Brandon, the guy that I met in Nice, who went home with a different girl every night and died at 36. Like, interestingly, lost his vitality by sleeping with thousands of women. And he was just out to get laid. So if he got laid early, he'd just come back out later. Sometimes 3 times a night. Like, just what an insane thing to do. And I was thinking, like, even ugly people get laid. It's not hard. What's hard is being celibate. What is hard is controlling your thoughts. It's not hard to be a narcissistic douchebag and tell girls the right thing so you can sleep with them and then ghost them. That is not hard to do. Everybody's doing it. And that's someone's future wife you did that to, and now they have some kind of trauma, and now that relationship is going to suffer. Women do it too. Women have done it to me. We're all just sharing these demons, sharing these traumas, bad habits, bad, like just numbing yourself so you don't have to think. That's what's happening. Like, I notice, like, people that spiritually bypass, or people that are atheists or whatever, these are the people picking up pickleball. It's like there's a new sport, and like, let's get good at this thing. Or they get super good at CrossFit, or they get super, you know what I mean? It just dominates everything, because if they're alone for 10 seconds, they're gonna have a full-on meltdown. And they build a life on top of that. And all they know is how to take from other people, because they are energy depleted. Because they can't control their thoughts. It's a very hard thing to do, so I love these quotes. Like, are you sure you have time to watch a full season of something? Or what movies are out? I have no idea what's out. So many pages I have written consciousness. How interesting. Anything you pay attention to gets energy from you, off of you. People, wars, economy, TV and movies, they're outrageous to get your focus, your energy. Internet or games. A conscious being's attention is the most valuable asset to the known universe. More power than anything, even the sun. Explains exactly why the world looks this way. Sad state of affairs. Some people want you to hate them because it feeds them. You fall for that trap every day. Just love and don't judge. All will flow. Love those that hate you. Live in the moment, stop obsessing over lessons. Skip that. Okay, I guess I've been on this thought thing for a while, so the best advice I have for life is live it like every single person can hear your thoughts. Perhaps the vibe of our inner monologue is readable in a way we don't understand. I've been such an asshole to everyone around me my entire life, without once acknowledging it. How much negative thinking we naturally do without knowing it. How awful are we willing to be to total strangers? If we'd all hear each other's thoughts, how embarrassed should we all be? How embarrassed I am for realizing this at 38. All the bullshit on my mind, but never this until middle age. I created monsters out of everyone, including people I love most. That's a decision I double down on every day for no reason. If the judgments we make were out loud, the world would be chaos. But look around, somehow that's what's happening. I have so many people to apologize to. I hope realizing this is enough to change the habit of negativity in my head all day. What I thought was quiet judgment and resentment was clearly out loud somehow. How to fix. I dated this one, July 18th of 23. Put your money where your mouth is. Your energy is meant for you to use. Make the world a better place for everyone. If I was me in the future, what would I want? Act in life that way, because you always knew the answer. You know when something is bad. What is the point of money if not making the world better? Why leave it to others who clearly don't know? My actions can either help or hurt the future for all people. Always do the right thing. Your soul is eternal. Eventually you will look back, especially at the important times. That's happening every second. We are the Akashic Records. We have access. The Akashic Records is every thought a human being has ever had is in some kind of record. And somehow we share this. Be an ascended master because in the future you already are one. You got there eventually, why not now? So I have this theory that if reincarnation is real, and if your soul is eternal and you just live over and over and over again, I was making a crazy symbol, till eventually you learn your lessons, till eventually you reach enlightenment and become a being of light, like Nikola Tesla said. If you use your spiritual vision, you can become a being of light, like Zoroaster, like Buddha, like Jesus. So what if you live in a million lifetimes and eventually you become not God, but God-like? And you get to change form or change dimensions. And you can go back and forth in time. Because in the fourth dimension, past, present, future is here and now. So what if, when I ask to sign from God that he exists, it's my future enlightened self, the alchemist, who can part the clouds and give me a sign, who gives me a warning when I'm on the wrong track, who gives me a feeling that something's not right. Because if I had the ability to go back in time and help previous me, I would. And I'm confident I have been doing that, and I haven't figured out the patterns. But my job is pattern recognition. It's what I do for work. And once life slowed down and I realized that there's more going on, I see a lot of patterns. Not just my own, I see everybody else's patterns as well. And there's a structure to this somehow. And I'd really like to figure it out. And not just for myself, like for the greater good. There are no more dangerous words in the English language than for the greater good. Like Franklin D. Roosevelt said that when he allowed Pearl Harbor to be attacked. It's for the greater good. We'll get in the war, and then we'll drop nuclear bombs on civilians. What a hero. I really hope, they say the age of Aquarius is the return of Christ consciousness, that this is like people open their eyes all of a sudden. And the idea is that everything that's happening in the world is chaos, like COVID, like these wars, these religious wars, all this shit is to keep you low vibration so you don't wake up. And I'm unplugged from the news, so every day someone's reading about what atrocities happened. The Israelis said Hamas came in, took them 6 hours to respond, but immediately Hamas came in and decapitated 40 babies. So you feel like you want revenge and you want to kill Palestinians. As if that's a solution. We got to kill their babies now. Like what a strange thing that people agree to. It's like obviously like our babies were killed. We have to kill now 40 of theirs. An eye for an eye, huh? I'm surrounded by retards. I don't I don't fit in here. It all starts with a thought. That's what the media is for, right? Control your thoughts. That's what the movies are for, control your thoughts. That's what TV shows are, control your thoughts. Gender ideology, control your thoughts. Racism, control your thoughts. Everyone is like actually programmed. I 100% believe that. It's like being soulless. You just repeat what you heard on the news. You just repeat what you heard on TikTok. It honestly feels to me like I am God inventing a world and nobody else in it is actually here. Everyone is just someone I made to look at and see the simulation is real. Like God forgot that he's God or something. Because there isn't a single person I've ever met that thinks like me. Except in my fucking books. All these people are dead. Like I'd love to talk to Carl Jung, or Rudolf Steiner, or Isaac Newton, or I mean some of these guys were in cults, so I don't know. Da Vinci. I guess I'm gonna get some more sun and think about what the next thing I have to say is, but these are all very strange thoughts to have, but this is the purpose of journaling. I need to get it out. I'm so glad I don't write this shit down because my hand would hurt. There's another thing I wrote about thoughts here, that they create frequency and energy, that there's some science behind it that we don't understand, but it's measurable and extractable. There's this theory that the people that translated ancient Sumerian tablets say that there was a race they called the Anunnaki of advanced beings that came here and created a slave species to mine gold for them. And because they needed it for their atmosphere or something for their planet. And they took the existing hominid here and combined it with their DNA and then created modern humans. Now, once I learned about alchemy, I realized that this is mistranslation, that it's this they're mining, not physical gold, because imagine if you can traverse the universe, you wouldn't need people doing manual labor. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But if you're a being connected to the divine, connected to God, and you have the divine essence of God, which is what Aristotle said, then your thoughts are the most valuable thing in the universe. And it is rare in the universe. So how important would it be to mind that and control that? And maybe that's who's run the world the whole time, you know? Makes as much sense as anything else that's going on here. Maybe there is an alien race that's oppressing everybody and creating all this shit. And they think we are the slaves. They think. But they're the slaves because they're slaves to their compulsions. If they're these narcissists and these people indulgent, and if they're a spirit being and they don't have bodies and they enter us to do this stuff, whatever it is, they are the slaves. Some advanced race. I think about it and then I think, well, how pathetic would that be? It's such a hard thing to believe. Because you could, with all that power, that's what you're doing, is like you're masturbating to energy. You're all like getting high off energy with your iPhones or whatever. It's really pathetic, I think. But the good news is, if that was the case, that there's spiritual laws that can't be broken. So you're in control of your energy if it's leaking. I noticed if I get high, my energy's leaking. That's why I don't want to get high. Like, I'll go outside and I will notice. Work slow. Like, somehow energy vampires find me. So don't get high. Just think out loud if you have to. And start to reel in your thoughts. Control your thoughts and make sure that they are good. Because your thoughts eventually control your destiny. And that is very important to me. Absolutely paramount. Great way to end it. Bye.